In this video, we're going to show you how Corporate Access Connect can be used to quickly link SQL Server and MySQL databases to Microsoft Access. Typically, this would be something department business users in a corporation might wish to do in order to enhance their Microsoft Access reports. It's also likely that SQL Server and MySQL databases are located on the corporate network, but for our demo, they've been installed locally. And to begin with, let's create a new Access database. Note we're using Microsoft Access 2013 for this purpose. And now let's rename the database to TestDB. And when we open this database, of course, there are currently no user tables listed. Now let's look at how we set up Corporate Access Connect. And as you can see, we have two connections, one to link to SQL Server and the other to link to MySQL. And we also have things called table lists, so let's have a look at what they do. And in the table list, we have grouped a list of tables that we want to link to our target Access database. In this case, we expect them to exist in a MySQL database. We also have another table list that has tables we want to link to an SQL Server database. And what we'll do is combine both sets of linked tables together in an empty TestDB Access database. So let's first look at what we have on SQL Server. And here you can see three tables that correspond with our SQL Server table list in a database called Test. And now when we switch over to MySQL, you can see there are 5 tables that correspond to the contents of the MySQL table list. And now back in Corporate Access Connect, let's look at the way we'll link to those two databases. And as you can see, we have a process to set up connections to local enterprise or cloud databases using ODBC. Here we have defined the path to the database server and below the name of the database we wish to connect to. Next, we test the connection by selecting one of the tables we know exists in the database. Then we press Test Connection, and as you can see, the link test was successful. Okay, now let's test the MySQL connection string. And this time, we set the connection type to Other, which enables us to specify the complete connection string. And again, the connection test was successful, so let's go and create the connections. Okay, the first thing we need to do is specify the target database, which in our case is TestDB. And as we have no password to enter, we can skip over the field and select the table list. And here are the tables from our list we are going to create as links in TestDB. And next we need to select the connection string to the database we call test located in MySQL. And now validate the links to both source and target databases, which as you can see are both OK. And now we can complete the process and create our MySQL Server links in TestDB. OK, now we need to do the same for our SQL Server table list, but by first selecting TestDB. And this time we'll select the SQL Server table list, which includes the 3 supplier tables. And then select the SQL Server connection string, then validate the links, and finally create the links in TestDB. Okay, back to TestDB, and let's see what we've created. And if you look closer, you can see the links created in MySQL for the customer tables, and below links created in SQL Server to the supplier tables. If we have a look at the customer tables, it's possible for us to change the values, in this case from Smith to Jones. And we can also do the same in MySQL, changing Fred to Dave, because we have write access to both databases. Although write permissions would be unusual on internal networks if we were connected to enterprise databases from Microsoft Access. So now let's look at our two databases. And first, MySQL database, where we've updated the values to Fred Jones, as you can see here. And finally, our SQL Server database, where we changed the name from Mark to Dave Littler. And that's it for this presentation, so please visit our website to get pricing for Corporate Access Connect at www.uplanet.com.au.